Hello. Welcome to the announcement on Twitch. I did not on not Twitch. Well, I guess I did the notification, but meaning Discord. That's what I'm looking for. I have not on Instagram. Hey, I guess I'll do that right now. Ugh. I hate opening these apps. Going live! Exclamation point because excitement. Ooh. I am excited to be going live. Not excited to be on the apps. Whoa. Ugh. That's one of the biggest things I take issue with TikTok is immediately being struck by the sound. I'm very sensitive to audio. And I'm like, can I choose to be listening to it? But I guess that is the app. I feel like my consent is lessened. Okay. My friends, the ones who use TikTok regularly were excited to find out that I got a TikTok for the stream, but because I am not like just exploring things on these apps, TikTok in particular, I think it may frustrate them. That's okay. They know me. It's another day, another stream in fascist America, the United States of America. Welcome to whatever this is, an attempt at providing education, advocacy, and a little common sense in this digital wasteland. I'm Aubrey Devashri. Welcome to the people who are here with good intent, who are wanting to create a better world, build humanizing systems outside of these oppressive ones, and create a place where we have robust discussion, good faith criticism, we call out bullshit, but also see the humanity in one another. Welcome to you. Namaste. To the people who are here with ill intent, who want to exacerbate these hierarchies of human dignity, looking to dehumanize others, fuck you, and a curse be upon you. Alright. So for the first hour and a half of this stream, we will be having it exclusive to 18 and up. So if you are not 18 and up, goodbye. See ya. Come back in an hour and a half. I will be very strict with the timing of things just so that I can keep my word and have that reliable communication from the beginning. But I did want to continue the conversation that we were having yesterday about sex workers organizing. This is very exciting and important and something that we need to be talking about. That because of the nature of even talking about sex work, acknowledging the humanity of sex workers, acknowledging that sex work is work, and that people need protections in the workplace, that there are not many media outlets that have picked up these stories that are happening in the US that I would like to cover. And then we will get into Culture Corner. Ooh, yay. Where we have some music submissions from people who are in the Discord, from chatters throughout the week and even beyond. And so there are a number of videos that I want to show. This is primarily music. I do show a lot of music for Culture Corner, but I do love music, so there we go. And there is some new music as well as some older music that has been existing. So yeah, then we'll get into Act 3 of Macbeth. Sound good? All right. For our humorous video today, there's this by The Onion. It says, immigrant explains difficulty assimilating to culture that constantly reboots film franchises. And I love this because I think rebooting a film franchises is annoying. It's irritating to me that it seems to be driven by capitalists who are just wanting to make as much money as possible, not pay writers enough, not go to the effort to create new things, because who wants to create new narratives when there are things that have already been making money? It's deeply irritating to me. I know many people are really enjoying the latest Spider-Man franchise. To be honest, I've not seen any of those movies. I do hear Tom Holland is a good Peter Parker and that Zendaya is good in it. I think it's cute that they met while filming it, but I have not seen these movies. I tend to be pretty checked out of superhero movies because I think a lot of the time superheroes are kind of like cops. That's my take. Anyway, let's give this a watch, shall we?
Just when I gotten used to Tobey Maguire soaring between New York City skyscrapers as Spider-Man, all of a sudden it's Andrew Garfield up there. Then I get used to him, and suddenly it's some other guy named Tom Holland. It's a lot to deal with when you haven't grown up in this culture. It feels so isolating when I try to relate to my coworkers over the animated Beauty and the Beast movie, and then they tell me it's live action now, and that there are even new songs. At that point, you just have to stop talking and try to follow along the best way you can. It's frustrating to love a film like 21 Jump Street and then hear someone say that it's almost as good as the original TV series. I thought it was the original. Then I have to go back to square one and figure out where the whole narrative started. Just when I gotten used to Tobey Maguire soaring between New York City skyscrapers as Spider-Man, all of a sudden it's Andrew Garfield up there.
I did see the first one with Andrew Garfield. I thought he was a good Spider-Man. Before immigrants said it, a great playwright had already said this. Toby or not Toby? No! That is the question. Shakespeare was a big fan of the organic webbing. Amusing. The wordplay is a bit forced, but, you know. Speaking from America, you're not alone. Yep. Hello. Why do you think people, like, one of the reasons why Obsession did so well, it's because we had some actors that were not as well known. It was a new story. It wasn't just a reboot of something. People are hungry for new original content and creativity. And there are so many people that can offer this, but they just are not provided opportunities, like screenwriters, directors, just artists of all sorts. So that's partly why we do Culture Corner here, to highlight that. Highlight the people that should be noticed more. All right. Moving right along. Oh, I saw this. The problem, I've seen the Signified B-Sides video. It wasn't this in particular that I was just barely referencing to, but apparently Killer Mike came out and like said something about FD signifier, and Lil Bill made a video about it that I still need to watch. So that's probably why it's recirculating in my algorithm. Anyway, moving right along to the conversation, just so we can keep up with time. This is from the account Private Parts Unknown, where there are the stories of sex workers that are shared. Yeah, Private Parts Unknown is a proud member of the Pleasure Podcast Network, so you can check all of them out if you're interested in. But Courtney is the host, and writer and sex worker advocate Antonia Crane is the guest. So this is Antonia Crane, and founder of Strippers United, formerly known as Soldiers of Pole, the author of the sex work memoir Spent, and current PhD candidate at USC. I'm excited to listen to this because this is highlighting the Lusty Lady peep show in San Francisco and their efforts to unionize. I mean, this happened a bit ago, but of course, this was not brought to my attention until like most recently when I was doing more research on the organizing efforts of sex workers. So a lot of this is suppressed in our algorithms, and I am excited to learn more about this. This was recommended by someone who watches the VODs, watches some of the content on YouTube. So thank you. Oh no. It disappeared. Just kidding. I need to refresh if it will allow
Hi,
me to.
I'm Antonia Crane.
Hello?
Hi, I'm Antonia Crane.
Antonia.
I'm the
Whoops.
founder of Strippers United. I'm an author. I'm a PhD.
Excuse me. If this will let me. What? This is invisibilization. What's going on?
Hi, I'm Antonia Crane.
What's happening? The system isn't wanting us to be informed. Support sex workers.
Hi, I'm Antonia Crane. I'm the founder of Strippers United. I'm an author. I'm a
Seems like there's an issue when I try to go full screen. Maybe I'll just keep it like this.
PhD candidate at USC, and I advocate and champion the rights of strippers and sex workers everywhere.
I went to your thing. You did a panel in November after the NLRB vote count for no host stripper strike. You were there with a bunch of former Lusties. I got such good tape from that panel. I was like, I got to have Antonia back to fill in the gaps. So I want to get your story. I read about it in Spent, but just start at the beginning. You're in SF. How many clubs had you worked at prior to the Lusty? I want to talk about your time there and then how you guys eventually unionized.
Great. So to begin, I was hoovering methamphetamine by the mountain in like 92 and attending Mills College for Black feminist thought, post-structural feminist theory, women's studies. We called it women's studies then. We called it ethnic studies then. We called it performance art studies at Mills College. And that's in Oakland. And I couldn't make my rent and I was struggling. And I was also slinging coffee. I would have to get up at 5 a.m. So, of course, I would just stay up all night and then go like open this cafe at 5 a.m. It was called Jumpin' Java. It was in DeBose Triangle. And I was slinging coffee and I was just like, God, I fucking hate this. And I would go home. And I was also working on the hate at Wasteland, and I would go basically dumpster diving for clothes. And we would go to put out night, which isn't what it sounds like. Put out night was when everybody put their furniture on the sidewalk and we would borrow somebody's car and literally drive around and pick up suitcases full of clothes and pick up desks and bookshelves and go home and like we'd have spray painting parties and just spray paint furniture. And that's like how I lived, right? And so then I was working at Wasteland, which is a used clothing store. And it was before it was like McWasteland. It used to be actually very cool and goth and interesting with tons of like really cool 40s suits and just like all kinds of quirky used vintage clothing.
But it's
And
still retail and you're not getting paid a ton, right?
it was like, God, what was minimum wage? I want to say it was like 4.75 or like
Oh my God.
5.50. I just remember it being so like, was it 7.25? I don't know. It was just like, we'll have to
Minimum
look it up, like
wage.
what was minimum wage in 1992. That's what I was
Yes.
making.
Yeah, and like hasn't really changed. But also, what can happen very frequently to people who work for tips anyway, is that they're paid much lower than minimum wage and then have to make up fair wage through tips. Not again. How dare you?
It was like, God, what was minimum wage? I want to say it was like 4.75 or
Should I
like
try
five.
this? No, I need to just keep it as it is. I'm cursing it.
Cool and goth and interesting with tons of like really cool 40s.
What?
I want to say it was like
I'm just not
4.75
gonna
or
touch
like
it.
5
5.50. I just remember it being so like, was it 7.25? I don't know. It was just like, we'll have to look it up, like what was minimum wage in 1992. That's what I was
Yes.
making. So I would sell my clothes and I would just wash the clothes and like sew buttons on them. And then I would go like on my lunch break at Wasteland, sell my clothing. And I was just like, God, I owed everyone $300. I was that bitch that would write letters to the landlord and like go find where his office was and like give it to the front desk person and be like, and it was just a letter from me begging my landlord for like 10 more days. Like that's what happened. And I was stripping at the Century. It is on Larkin Street. It's in the loin, in the Tenderloin. It's across the street from Mitchell Brothers, where a lot of like queer women were doing live sex shows, but they wouldn't hire anybody who was like a little bit rougher or tattooed. And I had a septum piercing, a tongue piercing, super short, spiky hair. I have pictures I can show you. I was actually bald. It was like the Sinead O'Connor kind of like I was bald and wore Pulp Fiction, like the wigs.
Uh-huh.
I would just borrow clothes from my friends to go audition and like I just was that person. I was like, can I just borrow that dress and like that this clingy weird t-shirt dress? And I would just wear my Doc Martens. And I worked at the Century. I was on meth still. We're talking 1992, 1993. So I was like shaking. Everybody else was on heroin and I was on meth. So it was like I
Oh,
was in a
you were
different
ahead of your
life.
time.
Yeah, okay. So I was ahead of my time. Everybody was just like on China White. Like I remember them saying that word and I was just like, what are you doing? What is that? But they were all on heroin. I was on meth. They were always saying like, slow down on stage. You're too fast. Because of course I was just like freaking out, just like vibrating on fucking speed and like tearing off some
Yeah, that
weird
is
dress.
something
And
that is
like,
said.
I
Slow
remember I
down.
danced to Stretch, like an extended remix version of
Also,
Sinead
that helps so
O'Connor's
that you don't
Stretched on
tire
Your
yourself
Grave.
out as much.
I had on a veil and I was just like, it's performance art. Like it
Was
is.
it always performance art for you?
Back then it was. Stripping was really cool. Like all of the lesbians were doing it. Like all of the like weird, like dirtbag queers, we were all stripping. It just made sense. Like it just made sense. So like yeah, they were like doing like I remember there were these like identical twins and they would just like have these boas, so like these showgirl routines. And there was this woman who was quite curvy, quite more curvy than you would imagine being like a stripper. I really, your mind is blown about like, wow, what's really allowed? What is beautiful?
Uh-huh.
I feel like things got more oppressive later, but like back then, like this very curvy blonde woman, this very Anna Nicole Smith body positive woman who was just gorgeous, had literally her own room in the club, like a storage room where customers would fill it with like television sets, stereos, speakers, candelabras. I just remember being shown like her room where customers would just Like she had literally a storage unit inside the bowels of a strip club.
That's insane. So when you're okay, so you're versus making $7 an hour or
Yeah.
6.25 or whatever the
Or
fuck
what,
you
yeah,
were
whatever it
making.
was.
But whatever you're making stripping
Mhm.
was like hundreds of dollars a night, right? Like way more night and day.
Well, you know, I was on speed, so I was bad at it
Oh.
at first, right? So I had to learn from these junkies, and they always told me just like, you know, just like ask them like, do you want to play with the kitty? And like they were just all so gacked. It was so funny. They were beautiful. They were like 20, you know, like everyone just asked them if you want to play with the kitty. Yeah, so I was kind of bad at it.
I
On the
can't imagine you being bad though. Like
That
knowing
is a
you
common
now.
phrase.
And
I was
so I'm curious, like, were you born this way or
Yeah,
is
also on
this
downers,
is
especially a
this
downer like
decades
heroin,
of
that
learned?
definitely would make you slow down for sure.
I learned. I just watched and listened and learned. I learned how to pole dance from the black strippers at Market Street Cinema. They taught me how to hustle as well. And we all really got along. Like, we really got along. I know it's weird, it's not really known. And if you watch any television show at all ever in the last 30 years, it seems like strippers are all extremely hostile toward each other. No.
Uh-huh.
So I worked at the Century initially, which is funny
Keyword
because I
last 30
started at the
years.
Century and then I ended up back at the Century like
Normally
12
I would
years
pause it, but
later
I don't want to
also.
risk this
I just
stopping
made a
again.
big circle around San
I've been
Francisco.
watching the
So I
show
worked at
P
the Century, but I
Valley.
also
It's
worked at
very
the
good.
Crazy Horse when I was
Hmm.
high. And Nina Hartley came to perform because back then they would pay for these performers, these porn performers, to come and perform on stage. And they were feature performers. And then those performers would like stand and with their posters, and people would get, you know, pictures with them and posters. I have posters somewhere. Anyway, Nina Hartley came to perform at Crazy Horse. She walks into the dressing room and she's like, "Who's going to have sex with me tonight on stage?" I'm like, "I am. Me." And like I literally got fucked by Nina Hartley on the stage at the Crazy Horse in, I guess it probably was like this, we're talking about 95 or 96.
Amazing. So are you at the Lusty at this point?
So I walked into, okay, so I have to get sober first. So I was a bad stripper because I was high and I was sort of like, I was just like, oh, cool, I have $80. I'm gonna leave. I can buy my drugs. What? Like, I can buy my drugs. I have like $100. That's fine. And so I was just like, wow, I made $80 like in 3 hours. This is amazing. And so I would just like go buy my drugs, or I would get, you know, get my speed, or I would like go get drunk, and I would like make $40, start playing pool, start winning at pool, and then like get drunk and then just like leave, like forget. Like it was just so I was a terrible hustler because I was just like high and I just didn't care and I didn't want to be touched. Like the thing about me and meth, which is different from the boys I was running with who were making speed and cooking speed, the gay men, which I was sort of like a member of this group for some reason. They all wanted to fuck all the time on meth, and I was just like, gross, do not touch me. And so I'm like a stripper who doesn't want to be touched. How the fuck was I gonna make money? I lose my shit as one does on meth for years.
Hmm.
You know, hallucinations, hearing voices. I'm 106 pounds. My teeth are see through. I didn't
Hmm.
lose any of my teeth miraculously. I just looked like I looked awful and I thought I looked really hot. And like I was homeless. I didn't realize that at the time. And now looking back, clearly I was. Like I did not have a home. I couch surfed. That's called homeless. I was that. Like it's like it really took me years to like really see what
Hmm.
happened and see how I lost my shit and like really lost my grip, you know, and became like a drug addict. Like my friends were telling me, you are a speed freak, you need to get help. So anyway, I end up in a psych ward on a 72-hour hold at Davies Medical Center. I've sliced my wrist open. You can't see it. I'm tattooed. And I had no intention of staying sober. I just wanted to sort of like get my act together and sleep it off. And I ended up staying sober and getting sober and meeting a person, a woman who had like a year and a half. And was working in the lap dancing clubs, stone cold sober, drove a 1974 orange Honda motorcycle. She had like thick hair down to her ass and a mermaid tattoo. And I was just like, you. And so she became my sponsor, and I have been sober ever since.
That's amazing.
April 3rd, 1995 was when I walked
Almost
out of
30
that.
years.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Good
So
for you.
I became
So
an excellent stripper.
and this is where when you go to the Lusty.
Yeah, so through my work with, I will call her Josie, that was her stripper name. Through my AA recovery work with Josie, I kept my other jobs, but we decided that I was going to take a break from the hustle of the lap dancing clubs because I was like getting my drugs there. The drugs were like on the tables in the dressing rooms, like everyone was really fucked up. It was just very hard for me to be around. And it wasn't like, oh, it's bad or it's dangerous. It was just like, I think I need a break from kind of just having it just literally 3 inches away from me at all times.
Yeah.
While I'm getting sober. So I did that for like, I think I had maybe a solid year under my belt, because I walked back into the Lusty in 96 and I got sober in 95. So that checks. So I was like, I think I can do this behind glass deal. She was like, listen, you owe everyone money. You're behind on your rent. You can't couch surf forever.
Mm-hmm.
A wonderful friend of mine, her name is Sarah Sophie Flicker. She was in the back of the ambulance when I was on the psych ward, and I slept on her couch for a year, my first year. She was very kind to me. We went to Mills together. Anyway, my sponsor was like, you got to be self-supporting. You got to like figure this out. You got to like get an apartment. You got to pay people back. And I'm like, but I can't. Like, look at what I'm making. And she's like, well, you got to start dancing again. We kind of talked it through. We talked it through and decided the Lusty would be a good option because it's the type of unusual strip club that has the audacity to wait a week for a paycheck. Like you're not walking with your money and buying drugs. You actually have to wait for that paycheck.
Damn.
It's a paycheck strip club. It's crazy. They have the audacity to like put you on you're on a schedule. I have actual schedules from the Lusty and pay stubs.
Truly, you were like for sure employees.
No doubt about it. Okay, so I had never like been a real employee in this regard where you like, here's the time. Do you know what a time clock looks like where you actually punch
Yeah.
it?
Mm-hmm.
So I did that like a factory. Like you go, and if you were 1 minute late, you didn't get your $1 raise. And they gave us like raises every so often. It wasn't horribly terrible, but it was like you couldn't be 1 minute late to your shift, or you wouldn't get the raise. You'd have to wait the next week to have a perfect time sheet. So like we literally punched in, and top wage was 21 an hour. And to get to that, you started at like 17 or something, or 16, which was very good hourly.
Mm-hmm.
The shifts were like, let's see, what's 9 to 2, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 5 hour shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started there. It was behind glass. There's this aspect of sex work that few people talk about, but Julia Query talks about it in her film Live Nude Girls Unite, which is a very good film still today. She talks about the boredom of it. And there really is something that is very boring on a baseline of certain kinds of sex work. I mean, I find catering
It's
to
a
men's
job.
needs terrifically boring in general. So,
Yeah.
but like being around,
Many
being
queer
with
women
my workers
do.
and with the lusty ladies, the lusties, I'll just say, so we don't have to run into gender problems today, but like the lusties is what we called each other. So the lusties, that there was like this camaraderie, and like just being very close to them. Your arms are around them, you're doing pull tricks, you're laughing together. It's worker solidarity in like a fishbowl environment. And so you really are talking to each other about what's going on at work. Like you just are, because you're
Sometimes
right
like
next to each other. You're
you're the
naked.
only
You can tell when things
people
are
who
not
are
going well, or something terrible is
protecting
happening, or
each
someone
other.
is scared, or someone's tired, or someone's injured. Like there's no way that that's not going to be a topic of conversation. And my friend Star, Jessica Dezette, who
There's this element as well of this is not always the case, but there are many sex workers that are asexual, or demisexual, or just develop an antipathy towards sex in general because of seeing so many things, and like kind of the novelty wears off. And that also means that people are extra, this is not always the case clearly, but people can be extra protective of their personal lives out of necessity in many ways, but especially when it comes to physical intimacy or romance, that um yeah, people can, out of necessity, put up a lot of walls, especially as people get older in sex work. Of course, this isn't always the case, but that is something that I have seen.
Was from ACT UP Portland, Maine, along with Chuck, who was support staff. Portland, Maine, ACT UP. These are activists. We're talking San Francisco, early 90s, were AIDS activists. I was ACT UP San Francisco. Jessica Dezette was like, "You're being filmed, like your butthole is being filmed. Like you can see the little Jawa light." She lost her temper and she was just like, "Move over here." And so I moved. She's like, "I'm going to change things around here." She stormed off stage. Of course, management told her, "You can go work somewhere else if you don't like it here." That's what they will always tell you. And for me, that's what I remember. I think that if you ask any other Lusty, they probably have a similar or same story, something similar to that, of like someone was being filmed, we noticed, someone walked out, someone got fired, we all walked out.
It was the beginning. I mean, you're in that time frame where like that kind of thing was just starting to happen, right? Like people just had camcorders or
Right.
whatever they were using at that time.
Yeah. And we offered, just like the Star Garden
Now it's
dancers, like
even
we
worse
offered,
with
there were
phones,
lesbians
and
who
now
were
with
a couple
AI.
who were
We'll
activists
get
on
to
stage
that
with us, and they were artists and
with
they made
this
posters, which I
next
have in
story
my
we're covering.
refrigerator. And they made a sign that was like no cameras. So we were like, "Hey, we'll make the signs, just no cameras allowed. Like we'll help, we'll make the signs. Can we just do this?" And management would rip down our signs. Like that doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost you anything. But there is an irrational fear, or perhaps a rational fear, of workers who are commiserating about their conditions, wanting safer protocols at work, wanting less discriminatory practices at work, wanting fair wages at work, that just, terrifies them. And so,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
so
try
that
to
was the
expand
beginning.
this.
Star walked off.
Pausing it didn't seem to
I'm sure were moles.
cause any
There are
issues.
theories of who those people were. They called these, intimidating meetings where we had to sit on the floor. I have notes like written on schedules from those meetings. June, who I think her name was June, she was a show director. And she was an ex-dancer, and she would cry and just be like, "How can you do this to me after everything I do for you?" It's very typical stuff.
Yeah,
Very,
the
very
Because she's like, I
manipulation,
work
union
here and you're
busting.
threatening my employment too, or something.
they're just, yeah, it's just, there's an irrational fear of feeling personally attacked when workers are taking a stand, and they love
Yeah,
to work
when they're
that
addressing a
emotional
power
anger, and they
imbalance.
underestimate the solidarity of strippers. They really do.
So tell me about, you on that panel, you guys were talking about organizing then versus now, and you've had
Mhm.
a taste in both worlds. So what was it like when you guys got started? You walked out, and then how are you making it happen?
Okay, so what was fun? What's fun to talk about? I forget how old you are. You're probably maybe one day older than
I'm
her.
39.
Oh, fuck you. You are not 39. You're like 30. You're like maybe 30.
Thank you.
So we used to meet at the Chinese restaurant next door. There
I'm
was the
spotting
time
some
of
flirting,
answering
I
machines.
think.
So you lived in an apartment with 6 other people. There was one answering machine and post-its all over the wall. And so you would just like be taking down messages and like putting them on post-its on the wall. And like we would figure out where we were going to meet and what we were going to do. Right. And so we would generally meet. What was it called? Was it the Onion or something? There was some club across the street from the Lusty that was where live bands played and stuff, a bar, and we would sometimes meet there. We would often meet right next door at the Chinese restaurant. So we would meet in person, no cell phones, and have our strategy meetings.
Are you picketing like the Star Garden girls
We
or
did pick
people?
it. Yeah, we did pick it. We got a lot of support. We got a lot of signatures. I was kind of amazed at the support, actually. What I remember laughing about was that men would honk at us in support at our picket. They would drive by and honk at us for support, but if they were with their girlfriends or wives, they wouldn't.
You
So we used to
dogs.
laugh about that.
Yep, that tracks.
So that was similar, just like we'd wear
Seems
wigs and outfits, and we had a lot of
like that's
support.
very real.
People have been waiting for a very long time for strippers to unionize.
So what did it look like when you finally got what you wanted? I mean, so the Star Garden case, that's like 15 months. Did it take you guys that long?
It took us 2 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah, this is fast. Mhm.
Wow.
This is fast. And I think that I mean, I don't really have any theories about it. It feels like it's not fast, probably for them. They picketed. I mean, they worked way harder on their campaign. There's a lot of social media stuff. They have a lot of fundraisers. I
Yeah,
don't remember if we
especially
did have
with
fundraisers. I don't think we did. We
typical time
would
for
do things
unionizing that
like,
is quick.
I forget if it's in my book, but is Mudman in my book? This customer that drove us out in the middle of a mud area in San Rafael.
I think so. You had clever names for a lot of people though, so
So these customer regular clients of some of the dancers would like support us by being like, okay, like bring 6 of your friends. I'll meet you. We'll drive this Jeep out to this construction site. You'll pose with me. We'll get all muddy. It'll be sexy. And we'll pay you. Everybody got paid like at least $300. Like we would just do these weird jobs with each other's clients.
oh cool.
Yeah. I mean, kind of fucking dangerous if you think about it, but it's just these were regular clients, so like they had been, pre-screened. But yeah, so those are the fundraisers that we did. The Star Garden strippers are crushing it. Their picket has been like a celebratory, clever thing that reminds me of ACT UP in its cleverness and flamboyance, in its
I love that.
tongue-in-cheekness,
Talking about
in
resistance as
its
a way
community
to
spirit.
gain
Well, it proves
attention,
they
have
know how to put on a fucking
camaraderie,
show
find
is
joy
the
Yeah,
in
thing.
exactly.
But they had you
the
guys to
organizing.
be inspired by and to look at and have as a blueprint. Did you have anything like that as a blueprint?
We had ACT UP, we had Food Not Bombs, we had Queer Nation.
So it
We
was like other groups at the time that were doing similar things in other spaces. That's who inspired you.
I think that was our guiding light, was the work being done by the Lesbian Avengers, the performance artists, feminism in general, Food Not Bombs, Needle Exchange, ACT UP mainly, because they were so clever and so just refusing to be shunned by the powers that be. So I think that was our guiding light. And I just interviewed Velveeta just briefly to get a quote for an article that I'm writing. And unfortunately, I don't think this quote is in there, but she did say like the Lusty Ladies were our guiding light, which is so sweet and amazing. Ours was a 2-year endeavor. During that time, the thing that's really special about San Francisco that's unlike here, but I can compare what the Star Garden dancers did in equivalency, I guess, what we'll say. Okay, San Francisco is really special because it's small and you can like walk to another club. Like, hey, let's go to Market Street. And like 3 or 4 of us would just be like, well, we're going to go work at Market Street Cinema. Great, sleaziest club in San Francisco. I made so much money with that fucking club. That's really where I learned to hustle. So we would go work at Market Street and Chez Paris and Centerfolds, and we would just go to other clubs. And that's how we survived. I remember for myself, because like we were locked out, and then, well, I'm gonna have to go work at this other club tonight. Like that's just how it was. Like, just go work at the other club. And that is really different than LA. LA is very sprawled out, but what the Star Garden dancers did is a lot of hybrid online shows. So they just kept the ball in the air, and they just like kept doing these fundraisers that were online and had these like really cool Zoom components. And that's the same as like walking across the street and going to this other club for the night, seeking refuge and finding these other channels, these other avenues of opportunity. So I feel like that was the point of affinity that I was trying to like say, is that we were able to, I know for myself, because I was so poor, I had to go like find another club to work at immediately, like that night when we were locked out, which was fine and invigorating because I never doubted we were doing the right thing, but it was challenging, to survive. And the Star Garden dancers like held fundraisers. They followed our Soldiers of Pole Federal Bar Raising Hell model and did that and like made a ton of money, sold it out every time. They just crushed it. And then just doing these online components. So it's just innovation, it's just innovation.
So you guys were precedent setting for the unionization and then for the co-op that came after. Were you there for that part of it?
I was not there for that part of it. I wasn't really active. I might have been on the schedule. I think I took a leave. I don't remember that part of it. That was after my time. So I left around 98, 99.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like, I arrived, I worked, we unionized, and I like stayed for that. And then I was making a lot of money in the lap dancing clubs.
Mm-hmm.
But I stayed on the of course voted and celebrated and stayed. And then I think I just moved on to the lap dancing clubs because I was making a lot more money. I have a friend, Pandora, who was a union shop steward. She's on the paperwork, like she was the name on the paperwork for the co-op, and we talk all the time, and I can connect you if you want to talk more about that.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Mhm.
I want to chat with you about starting Soldiers of Pole, now Strippers United. But I feel like you set this whole thing in motion by giving this like container to it in LA, being like, this is ladies, this is, or I don't want to gender it, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of ladies involved, people,
strippers,
uh,
yeah,
dancers.
sex
This is
workers.
how you can do it. And it kind of started with the AB5 stuff,
Mhm.
but what year, and tell me about the beginning of that.
I want to say 2018 is when AB5 came down the pipeline, and I remember talking with, I come from a law family, and so I remember talking to my dad about it and various other people about it, and realizing that it meant that we could unionize. Now, it's a controversial topic among dancers because of how it has been played out and how the club owners have really put their spin on that and used it to divide dancers and to divide workers, which I think if you look at it from a helicopter view, you can really see that. But there's a lot of anger and rage about like the fact that BIPOC dancers were fired first
Mm-hmm.
and veteran strippers were let go second. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of anger and rage regarding AB5, but I think it's misdirected because we never actually needed AB5. We've always been employees. And you can see that in multiple lawsuits in other states as well, not just California, but in these class action lawsuits and arbitration, which are public, you can look them up and see how people have ruled. Like in New Orleans, you can see how it has ruled in dancers' favor like 99.9% of the time that dancers are owed back wages because they've always been employees. So technically, now we really didn't need it. But I think that what it did is it awakened something, and it was meant for drivers, by the way. It was meant for truckers, Teamsters.
Oh, long haul
Yeah,
truckers. Yeah.
it was written with them in mind, but it affected all of these other groups of workers. And I would say that it affected dancers very negatively. Like, I'm not upset that they have interpreted it in a negative way. I still think that it made kind of the argument of whether we're employees or not more clear. And I think it made the path clearer and it lit our path more brightly to be like, okay, yeah, I mean, the Supreme Court of California says we are employees, therefore employees can unionize. Now we should be awarded other things as well, but we're going to have to fight for that. And I think that I thought that it would be kind of easier to kind of convince people like, hey, this means this. And like every employee in California since 2014 has paid sick leave. No employer will ever tell you that. You also have sick leave, like let's say your husband or your partner has to get an operation, you can get a paid day off for that if you live in California. And this is true. Like there's just a lot of things that are true, but
And
like
that's good to know.
it's true in theory, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
in
So many
life,
things that
in the
bosses
clubs,
don't
these
say.
are criminal enterprises, that they are used to not only not acknowledging that strippers are human and workers, and that they have normalized ripping us off, tip stealing, committing wage theft, and making us pay our own wages and worse,
Mm.
and all of the discrimination also. But they've just become accustomed to not getting busted, and they have become accustomed to that being normalized by the dancers. So the dancers, we have also internalized and normalized this behavior, and I think that that is a lot of internal work that has been going on for the last couple of years, really untangling who told us that that's normal, like that we should pay our own wages, that we should pay to work, that we have these arbitrary fees and fines. That is when you tell any worker, any other field, any other, I mean, even car washers have unionized. You tell a room full of workers, their jaws dropped on the floor. So since 2018, we started having Know Your Rights meetings. A.M. Davies, myself, Jordan Palmer, and the two previous founders who, for their own reasons, decided to like leave and move on to other things, which everyone gets to do. Activism sucks. Organizing sucks. It's really hard. It's really scary. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of faith. Sorry, it does. Organizing sucks. It's very hard.
But you saw this. I mean, I know it probably you're in it, so it like seems longer, but just like how you said, it was fast, really, and how
It was
these
fast. Yeah.
movements can kind of go. I mean,
Mhm.
that's only been 5 years, and there's
Yeah.
now a successful union club in LA.
And they want to be a co-op.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fucking amazing. And I have a really good relationship with that group. I'm really, really close with them. I'm really excited for them. They are bringing the really specific language and the post-COVID safety protocols to the table. They're bringing really important disability language to the table. They're bringing really exciting gender language to the table. They are really determined to push anti-discrimination language in the contract and force the club to hire a more vibrant and diverse roster of dancers. They're really committed to that. And I feel other strippers looking and waiting to see, because trust is really hard to build with sex workers, as you know, even though I've trusted you from like day one. It's very hard to
Yeah.
build trust with
But
strippers.
I mean, it looks like such a close knit, tight knit community. And I mean, you see them waiting. Do you think there's going to be more?
Yes, I hope and dream that there will be more. I think it can look a lot of different ways. I think pushing against the systems of oppression can look a lot of different ways. And the reason why I'm saying that carefully is because there are also some strippers pushing back, and they are working within independent contractor language, and they are
Mm.
still pushing for change. I think it can look in a lot of different ways. And I do think that other strip clubs are going to unionize. I do think that there's a certain club, I don't want to like
Mhm.
blow kind of strategy stuff, but as much as I would love to see, you know, the larger corporate clubs really be taken down and changed in a big way because they are the worst offenders, I think we might have to start small
Mhm.
and go to the smaller clubs and really just taking care of strippers and building stripper solidarity and organizing, even though like literally strippers and almost and lots of people would rather do anything else but organize. It's scary. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of looking into the future. You have to be willing to risk things, and not everybody is willing to do that, and that's totally fair and that's legit. But I think that like I think that strippers are waiting to see the contract, and I know the Star Garden's intentions, and I think it's going to be really beautiful and exciting to see what happens.
Yay.
Do you think it's going to happen more?
Stay tuned. Well, I think we're at an interesting point for labor in a lot of different industries right now. And I think technology is kind of forcing that in some ways, with the writers. And
Yeah.
so it's like labor is having a moment. And I don't know.
Just
I
as a
think
reminder, this was in
we might.
2023.
There's inspiration that's proves it can happen. So before we go, tell us about your directorial debut.
Oh yeah, I am really excited. I had a first directing experience for a short film. It's called Lady Los Angeles. And the reason I did it,
Cool.
the reason I wrote it, I wrote several shorts with the thought of, wouldn't it be cool to have like Black Mirror, but sex work, like a sex work version of Black Mirror.
Ooh.
And so I have several shorts, and this one is the one I decided to make. I felt really urgently about it because I've never seen a story that takes place post Sesta Fafsa in a world where your life online is taken down and one has to survive. And I've wanted that. It's about a Latinx trans femme person who's a skateboarder, and she has community, and she's just going through her day, and she gets kicked off the internet and has to figure out how to make her day. And I don't want to give anything away, but it's not easy for her. But also I also thought about the demographic of Los Angeles being Latinx and how important that is, to have that person be at the center, and to also have that person like have a complicated life with a lot of friends and support, and what that looks like, and also what it looks like to live in a aggressively gentrified neighborhood
Mm.
and looking for work, and how that feels to not be cool enough or not be this enough or that enough, and to be a sex worker during that specific time when your livelihood is illegal. So that's the thought behind it.
Is it in a festival? Are people going to be able to access it soon?
I sent it to you, but yes, people can access it soon. I think I'm waiting on some festivals. I did get into a festival called Translations,
Oh, nice.
and so we did have a premiere, a world premiere in Seattle, and it was really, really sweet, and it was really fun, and I got to see people that I've known for a really long time. It was beautiful to see it on a big screen. It was very overwhelming, actually, to see it on a big screen. It's like very overwhelming. It's really hard to describe the sensation of actors saying the lines that I've written.
Yeah.
It's like you can feel it on your skin. My skin just prickles when that happens. Like I cried the first time it happened.
Oh.
Just like, I can't believe this. And I worked with the actor, a trans femme, beautiful person who, because it got shut down during the pandemic. So we waited like a year and a half. So I was on Zoom with her, and she contributed to the dialogue, which was really
Amazing.
fun. Yeah, it was really cool. And our entire set was, trans led and BIPOC led, and that is challenging. Collaborating is really challenging in general, as I'm sure
Amen.
you know.
Yeah. I know this.
I shared the link on her
Yeah, it's
website talking about
deeply
this
collaborative
movie.
making a film,
Yeah.
and it's
I-
expensive and it's impossible.
You're so right. I was just like, I mean, this is a plug for your books, but I was just talking to my boyfriend about this. I was like, writing books, it's a solo act, baby. And if you're making movies, or TV, whatever, you're in a band. You're in a
Totally.
big fucking band. You're in an orchestra.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, and that was
So-
really, really, it's a really challenging experience, but it's a really, I would say I grew more from that experience in ways that were like very difficult. And yeah, I definitely am not in a hurry to be on set again.
Well, I love the sound of sex work Black Mirror, so I hope it happens. But, maybe the next collaboration is going to be
Different.
different.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the first time, anybody I talked to who's made their first movie, like it almost killed them.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, every single person I've ever spoken to is like, oh my God. everything went wrong, everything. Like, it's just, that's the learning thing about the impossibility of making stuff
Hmm.
and making it on a shoestring, especially, without like that big money
Yeah.
or support. Really, you're just like, you're really just trying your best, and it's very hard. Do you direct films, or are you mostly an actor? And I know you're a writer, but do you?
No, but I'm hoping to. I was talking about it in the context of like trying to write TV. It's like, let me just try to write a book first and by myself.
Yeah, and
Where I
then
don't need a million people.
yeah, and then you
So,
can write the pilot.
yeah, yeah.
Private parts unknown. How dancers at Star Garden became America's only unionized strippers. I mean, we also have the Lusty Ladies that they were unionized. Hello, Water. Welcome. How are you doing? Okay. We are no longer talking about triggering things. So I'm deleting that message. Okay. Let us get into the news about the sex workers at Sheri's ranch, where they were able to unionize. And this happened pretty recently. I first heard about this at the beginning of the year, like around February. But it's really cool to see how there's even more information coming out. I mean, slowly but surely. Nice to see you too. How are things with you? But, like, as we have been discussing, it is really difficult to actually have visibility for sex workers and their rights and organizing efforts just because of algorithms with censorship, and also the nature of the work itself, of these views of like modesty and respectability, when this work has existed as long as like human beings have been around. So doing wonderful. Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. Hearing about some unionization. Yeah. I know it's cool to see, like, we were watching that podcast before of the first strippers union that was in the US, the Lusty Ladies. They created one. And like how, like, obviously sex work is work, and one of the like big arguments against sex work existing and also criminalizing sex work in general is that like it shouldn't be, like, it's immoral in some way or another because of these ideas of what that even means and limiting people's sexuality. But these ideas about like consent and like traditional families that are deeply like colonial a lot of the time, but how unionizing, actually having collective bargaining power, is one of the best ways to protect sex workers in the workplace. Hello, Igloo BC. Welcome. How are things with you? All right. So this is from sex workers seeking unionization at Pahrump brothel for the first time in Nevada history.
This is 8 News Now.
It's a history-making move for licensed sex workers in Southern Nevada. A group at
Rude. I just need to refresh it. I forgot to do that before.
This is 8 News Now.
It's a history-making move for licensed sex workers in Southern Nevada. A group at one of Nye County's most popular brothels is unionizing.
Now, Nevada is the only state where people can legally purchase sex. In certain counties with fewer than 700,000 people. 8 News Now anchor Sasha Loftus is in Pahrump tonight with the latest on.
Do you hear how awkward they how awkward they sound. She's like, sex workers, and he's like, sex. It's like people have such a hard time talking about this, and that's just like the reality of sex workers, of just having to talk about things in a very straightforward way. Love to see any workers unionize. Yes, exactly. Incredible. It's so important for all workers.
The effort.
The women I spoke with tonight say they've worked here at Sheri's
Glad
Ranch
to hear
in
you're doing
Pahrump
well,
for
too.
years as independent contractors. But they say that status does not give them the protection they need. So they're unionizing, marking
Yeah, I don't know
major
why they're saying this is at Pahrump brothel, because like in the description it was saying it's Sheri's Ranch. So I don't know what that means. Is that the town?
change for the
I'm gonna look
industry
this
here in
up.
Nevada.
It does feel like being part of the American labor story in a way that sex workers have never been allowed to be before.
A first for sex workers in Nevada at one of the state's oldest brothels.
Oh yeah,
When they
it's
asked
a
us if
town.
we wanted to team up and get this done, we all said yes.
Licensed courtesans Molly Wilder and Jupiter Jetson speaking on the start of the United Brothel Workers Union within the Communications Workers of America.
It didn't necessarily start as a movement to unionize. It just started as a movement to not be held to an extremely exploitive contract.
They say that contract came from Sheri's Ranch and would have given the brothel control over their intellectual property and power of attorney.
All of my videos would be theirs, regardless of whether or not I even have the right.
Not able to own their means of labor, owning the means of production.
To it.
So many of the location sex workers are pushing back, agreeing to join the union, which would classify them as employees and provide stronger rights, safety, and security. Sheri's Ranch responding with this statement, saying in
Is
part,
this a story you've
we
been following?
respect the
Yep,
right of
it has
individuals
been.
to express their views on workplace structure. At the same time, Sheri's Ranch
I've been very interested in it. It was a situation as well that, just with like how my algorithm works, of like, it was brought to my attention, but also, I know most people are not aware of this, especially when it comes to labor organizing. Like, this can still carry a taboo in talking about sex workers organizing. So it's been something that I've been highlighting as we've had more innovations with it.
remains confident in the long-standing legal and regulatory framework that has supported independent contractors operating their own business in association with the resort for decades. But
Yeah, so what they're talking about here is that in many places, many states, sex workers are not categorized as employees, where there are many things that are done off the books. And so, like when it comes to like having regular schedules and being paid, like actually having a wage where you aren't just having your income come solely from tips. And this is a way for employers who are the places that are hiring sex workers in order to keep them suppressed in many ways so that they can't advocate for the rights of employees of like, oh, I need time off. Oh, I need leave. I need this. Just basic safe conditions, because they can't fall back on these state definitions of what it means to be an employee.
Jetson and Wilder say this situation was the push they needed.
After 8 years of swallowing tip theft, wage theft, and not really ever making a fuss about it, wanting my intellectual property was just a bridge too far.
To kickstart this entirely new chapter.
If I could be speaking directly to every sex worker, it is that you are not the exception, you are the rule, and you deserve the same rights as anybody else.
Now, at this time, courtesans here at Sheri's Ranch are the only ones behind this unionization movement, but they tell me they hope it expands to those working at other brothels here in Nye County and up in northern Nevada as well. Reporting tonight, Sasha Loftus, 8 News Now.
Now, attorneys for
That lip color
CWA
looks
submitted a
very
request to
pretty
the National Labor
on her.
Relations Board and an injunction against the brothel's termination of several courtesans. We have a full look at that statement from Sheri's Ranch at 8newsnow.com.
All right. So that's a bit of an update. This is the website for United Brothel Workers. A historic fight is underway at Sheri's Ranch, one of America's oldest legal brothels. Courtesans are standing together to demand safety on the job, better working conditions, and control over their own futures. With the introduction of coercive contract terms that attempt to seize their intellectual property, including their names, likenesses, and creative work, United Brothel Workers was formed under the leadership of Communications Workers of America. Yeah, especially when it comes to sex work in, like, it is intellectual property to be like, here we are. Oh, whoops. I guess I could add myself. That is what it is. To say, like, you are creating a persona, you are creating a body of work with clients, with people who are coming for services, to say, like, this is what, like, you specialize in, or like, it's an experience that you are selling, it's an idea that you are selling. And then also, if there is like any sort of like filming going on, that hopefully that is done in a consensual manner. But like, as we were talking about in the previous video, that was happening to people at the Lusty Ladies strip club, that they were being recorded, and that was in like the 90s when this was happening. Now everyone has phones, and so there are even less protections and options for recourse a lot of the time, or people even knowing if they're being recorded and actually having the rights to those recordings. That it just goes to show how disempowered people are. But it's like, your whole like persona that you put on, like, that is how you make money. And so especially when it comes to like, that's what the intellectual property is. It's this idea of this persona, this like character that you are creating, this experience that you're creating. And so like anything that is being recorded or filmed, that like, you should have ownership of that. And when people do not have the category of being employees, that this is often used as a way to be like, okay, then like, go do something about it. Like, try to talk to someone, like, what are you going to do about like being recorded, or even like selling these recordings and not actually having the option to have consent in that situation? That's deeply exploitative, and also a way of stealing likeness, especially when it comes to AI. This is something that they have talked about at Sheri's Ranch, these workers, where they're saying how like, their likenesses are being taken and used for AI products of videos that are being created based off of how they dance or perform, based off of, you know, their skill set in sex work, that they then, that takes away everything that they have built in order to make money. So I did want to read this. This is from Mother Jones. Nevada brothel workers are unionizing to protect their digital rights. A new contract demands everything and could hand their likenesses over to AI porn and sex bots. Okay, so we're seeing them in the interview. We haven't been introduced to them, but under normal circumstances, the sex workers arriving to their jobs at Sheri's Ranch, a legal brothel in Pahrump, Nevada, have a predictable routine. Most people's shifts at the ranch last for at least a week, and the process involves picking out a room that they'll stay in and work out of for the duration, visiting with a doctor, and some paperwork. The week of Christmas, however, things went very differently. Sheri's workers showing up say they were presented with a surprising and objectionable new contract that would give the brothel unprecedented control over them, their intellectual property, and their digital likenesses. They want everything, says Jupiter Jetson, a sex worker, model, and adult film actress who worked at Sheri's for 8 years. Their motivation is to get a hold of our videos and the ability to create AI likenesses, because they don't want to actually pay human beings. So AI being used, employees being laid off, being exploited, using knowledge, likenesses, ideas, experience to educate, to train AI. This is happening in every single industry. Jetson says there had been hints that something might be afoot in the fall. Brothel management started offering what she wryly calls teaser trailers, saying things like, there's a new contract coming, a lot of ladies aren't going to like it. That's so shady. While at the same time insisting, she says, that there weren't any major changes and framing it as a chance to tie up some loose ends and fix some clerical errors. Like many people in adult businesses, Sheri's ranch workers, referred to as courtesans in Nevada, the only state where prostitution is legal, are classified as independent contractors, but some say they're treated more like employees, with the ranch controlling basic aspects of their jobs, including how much they charge and what they can wear. So they even have more rights, whether they are categorized as an independent contractor or an employee. But as an independent contractor, that is where they should be allowed to negotiate their own terms. Employees are subject more to the terms that are already being imposed on employees. But this just goes to show how many other states, I mean, every other state in the US where it is not legalized, where prostitution is not legalized, that people are not categorized, sex workers, as employees, and how this opens people up to being in a lot of dangerous situations and where they don't have control over what work looks like. According to 3 women with experience working at Sheri's, the new contract made an unprecedented play for their intellectual property, one that they worry could be a bid to make money from their likenesses, including through AI, as well as potentially owning a piece of anything they might create while working at the ranch. So, like, clearly taking away any sort of ownership, having control, ownership of the means of production, especially when it comes to the internet and people being able to post some of their own content online, that this has made it so sex workers have a little more control over what is being shown of theirs, that they have less middlemen, and a lot of the time it is men, middle people that they are going through in order to get paid. And so this is a way to take back a lot of that power. So even when it comes to like making things, like creating any form of content, a lot of these platforms have all of these like hidden things now on the back end that is like in settings. Like happens a lot in social media, of like you have to go in and find a setting that says like, I do not accept, or I do not provide permission for AI to use my likeness, my voice, my content. And a lot of these things are very hidden and buried very deeply in these social media platforms. Like there was one recently added to YouTube, one to Instagram and Meta. So like we're all being exploited in this way, but it is especially detrimental to people who are making their livings creating content, basing their work off of ideas, but particularly when it comes to sex workers, of people who are already objectified in many ways and disempowered in many ways when it comes to being viewed as workers and it being a line of employment, but also with them, like there is like such a human element to this aspect of seduction, of what that even means, and that takes a lot of imagination and skill and creativity that many people just think it's like, oh, you just take off your clothes and you just like move around, and it's like, okay, well, we aren't paying just anyone to do that. You know, it's like, I mean, some people do, but like there is a lot of skill that goes into this, into like creating this tension, this allure, in order to get people to even like want to buy into the fantasy that really goes unrecognized a lot of the time, and that it is being used to be fed into AI to make all of this slop. Where did I leave off? Okay. The contract with which Mother Jones has viewed also gives Sheri's power of attorney over the workers' intellectual property, as the contract puts it, to further the prosecution and issuance of patents, copyrights, and other intellectual property protection. The women say the contract was shown to many arriving workers in what seemed like a deliberately rushed fashion, with someone in management immediately flipping to a back page and asking them to sign without reading it closely. Yep, this is a tactic that, most workers are subject to and exposed to, of trying to do things very quickly, of rushing a process to make it so people don't have time to actually understand what is going on, for people to be talking to one another, sharing stories, finding out more information. In addition to the contract, the workers have other long-standing labor issues, including the limo fees that they're required to pay to help transport customers from the Las Vegas Strip, and the system of tip splitting, both of which organizers say appear to be legally questionable. But as sex work has become an increasingly digital field, their major concern is the contract's threat to their ability to protect their image and likeness, especially from potential AI uses. The issue is no longer hypothetical. Just this week, major Hollywood players expressed concern and outrage after the Chinese company ByteDance made an AI video featuring Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. And they actually have money and fame and are dudes, patriarchy, proximity to whiteness on their side. Instead of signing, some of the women began talking among themselves, reading the fine print, and largely deciding that the new language was intolerable. Yeah, good for them. As a result, but often, people feel coerced into these situations, these boss tactics, especially when people are needing money and they're needing it quickly, that the more disempowered people are, and that, once again, when people are not categorized as an independent contractor formally, officially with paperwork, or with categorization as an employee, that becomes even more of an issue. As a result, Sheri's ranch workers have launched a unionization drive, forming the United Brothel Workers, a branch of Communications Workers of America, the CWA. If successful, they'll be the country's first brothel workers union to gain employer recognition. While the workers and the CWA decline to share a specific number, they say they have collected signed union cards from a heavy supermajority of the ranch's sex workers. They're calling on Sheri's to recognize the union voluntarily, which seems unlikely. Multiple women have been abruptly terminated for what organizers say is protected union activity, including Jetson, who said she was fired via email 24 hours after collecting signed cards in the ranch's parking lot. Yep, this is a tactic of bosses. Not too long ago, we were talking about how a situation in Utah of workers for the UTA, the Utah Transportation Association, that buses and the trains that go through Utah, not that there are that many, but how often when there were picketing events happening, that anyone who was talking to the news, anyone who was spearheading these efforts, that they were targeted specifically, and we saw that the UTA sued the union. We live in a spicy panopticon, Jetson said. Wow, what a word. Referring to the security cameras that cover public areas of the ranch. There is no covertly organizing the union. Instead, she says, we did a lightning strike style drive to sign the union cards. Yeah, where often this can happen in sex work situations where there are cameras to make sure that, people are behaving themselves like clients, but also it can be used as a surveillance tool for the workers themselves to get them to be behaving in a particular way that aligns with what the establishment wants. Where organizers stopped workers coming from their cars to talk about their labor rights. That's so smart. Jetson and another worker involved in the drive, who has also since been dismissed, continued even after learning from a colleague inside that management appeared to be gathering around security camera monitors to watch their efforts. We got a lot of union cards that day, Jetson says. The brothel got our voluntary notice of recognition on Wednesday, about 24 hours later, she says. On Thursday, I was fired at 3:12 p.m. via email. Another worker, Molly Wilder, said she was also fired over email after management appeared to learn that she was helping with the union effort, and before she'd even had a chance to decline to sign. They just knew what I was doing, Wilder says. A third worker, Adelind Gray, attempted to sign the contract with a notation she hoped would indicate she was doing so under duress. She says that management refused to accept that, telling her she could leave instead. When she began recording the interaction on her phone, Nevada is a one-party consent state, and so meaning like as long as you are consenting to being recorded, that you can record people. And the conversation took place in an office that is already monitored by security camera. She says she was told my contract is no longer on the table. Boss shit. The CWA has so far filed 4 unfair labor practice complaints with the National Labor Relations Board on behalf of terminated workers. While the Sheri's Ranch website says the brothel is owned by retired car dealership owner and former homicide detective Chuck Lee, he died in 2018. The business, which currently appears to be held at least by one LLC, didn't respond to specific questions about the legal concerns raised by the unionizing workers or about the termination of Jetson and other workers. So this is probably kept secret very intentionally. Of like, oh, so this guy died and now we don't know exactly who is owning this, and that is extremely shady. It is to avoid any sort of accountability. Instead, Jeremy Lemur, the brothel's marketing director, provided a statement saying the ranch has been actively working with independent contractors to revise and improve the existing contract with the goal of making it more workable and agreeable for everyone. Oh, really? It said the company has been in ongoing dialogue with its workers and that it believes the final version will be viewed by the independent contractors who choose to work here as fair, balanced, and supportive of their ability to operate their own businesses. The statement makes clear that Sheri's primary concern is that unionization drive could result in the sex workers being classified as employees instead of independent contractors, and then, therefore, they are subject more to the terms that they are setting. As Lemur's statement adds, Sheri's Ranch has long believed that the independent contractor model has served Nevada's licensed sex industry and that the women who work within it well for decades. It has allowed independent business women to maintain autonomy, set their own paths, and build success under an established and lawful framework. While we respect that individuals have the right to express differing views, it's not just differing views. This is such, PR bullshit. The company remains committed to preserving a structure that has provided opportunity, stability, and economic independence for generations, while continuing to support a safe, professional environment for contractors, clients, and the surrounding community. Despite the already intense backlash from management, the organizers forming the United Brothel Workers say that what's on the line is nothing less than existential for them and for sex workers at other Nevada brothels. Alice Little, a legal sex worker at the nearby chicken ranch who's known for advocating for sex workers' rights, says she too recognizes that a union contract at Sheri's could be seismic for the industry, which is why she's opposed to the effort. In my personal opinion, it is the brothels who would benefit from making employees of the independent contractors, not the other way around. Yep, says Little, who I was referred to by Lemur, but who told me that she was not speaking on behalf of brothel owners. Little says she is concerned that an employee system would allow brothels to impose stricter rules and guidelines on sex workers, including how often they need to work, be on tour in industry parlance. It would be almost a win for these locations to set a standardized contract and require us to be on tour however often, where they have less control over their day-to-day working conditions. In her view, it's in our best interest to negotiate and contract individually and exercise the freedom to change locations, meaning to quit a brothel if contract terms aren't acceptable. That makes a bold statement to a location if you take your business somewhere else. The chicken ranch and Sheri's are within walking distance. It's incredibly easy to just go work at the brothel next door. There are so many freedoms and options within this industry. In fact, a Sheri's Ranch schedule shows that Little will begin working there in March, something she did not disclose in our conversation. Yeah, because she didn't need to. Little confirmed by text that she would start there next quarter. My license currently is for Chicken Ranch, and I'm taking bookings there through the end of the month. Little also published an op-ed this morning in the Nevada Independent reiterating her opposition to the unionization effort. Yeah, so I don't like that of saying that she's against the unionization effort, but she is highlighting the aspect that is in concurrence with the workers who are organizing by saying that if they become employees, that this is worse for everyone. But also, like, this makes me wonder, like, how much control, like, she may have if she's in a managerial position or something, or like not wanting to rock the boat or whatever, because in order to keep making money, which is often something that bosses use as a tactic in order to divide workers. The piece does not disclose she'll soon start work at Sheri's, so she's going to be subject to these same conditions. Maybe she'll change her mind after working there for a bit. Who knows? Similarly, Jetson thinks that the new intellectual rights provisions in the Sheri's contract are also a bellwether, which is why she and her colleagues are fighting against it. If this contract had been successful and they'd been able to roll this out without a peep from us, Jetson says, they would have taken it to the Brothel Owners Association, and we would have seen contracts like this in every house in Nevada in the next 2 years. Sheri's Ranch has previously declared itself AI skeptical. In a 2025 blog post, Lemur wrote that while AI is certainly revolutionary and rapidly evolving, the tech raises serious questions about consent, authenticity, and what we trade for convenience. Yeah, so like saying that in name, but then also doing something completely different behind the scenes. These are also types of boss tactics. By contrast, he wrote, Sheri's serves as a cultural counterpoint. Here we provide genuine connection between real people, licensed sex workers who choose their profession and meet clients face to face in a safe and regulated environment. From the initial email contact to the sexual encounter, Sheri's employs no deep fake imagery, no ghost-written communication, and no deception throughout the customer experience. Something that they were talking about earlier, I do want to finish this article, but in the video that we were watching before this, they were talking about wage theft, and that is a very real aspect of sex work. I mean, if you are working for tips, there really is so much wage theft that goes on. Like they were talking about limo fees. So something that happens with a lot of sex work, but like speaking specifically about strip clubs, is that workers are expected to tip out at the end of the night. And at least this is how most models work, where workers then from their tips pay so that bartenders can be paid, bouncers, DJs, and this is a form of wage theft where people are expected to split all of their tips. It's like it is a way to get around of the people who are hiring people to actually paying people that like the workers are generating, especially the dancers are generating all of the revenue. Where did we leave off? I could be starring in adult videos that I never agreed to and never consented to. Yeah, so it's like it just goes to show like the concept of consent, something that we talk about a lot here, is very widespread. Like in common parlance in modern day, it is associated with sexual activity, which, you know, is important to be talking about. We need more education that's widespread about consent, but also something that we do here and like what other people talk about in other spaces as well is that consent is this concept of actually agreeing to a particular situation no matter what it is. And so when we learn more about what this means on a widespread scale, it forces us to consider how or if we consent to being in any of these systems that we're existing in, whether we are like, do we consent to being forced to work to pay for things and exist in oppressive systems? That there are so many aspects of life that we don't consent to, that it can be very radicalizing for people to be talking about it in that manner, which is another reason why, like, a lot of this information is suppressed in algorithms, and why, like, it's hard to even find, you know, like, decent education a lot of the time on, like, sexual activity with consent from, like, trusted sources that don't have a particular agenda. But especially when it comes to people with more anarchist thought, where consent is a lot of the time at the foundation of this of these various kinds of thought, that that is even more suppressed, surprisingly. But also not that surprisingly when it's talking about, you know, the broken systems that we exist in. Okay. We are at the hour-and-a-half point. So I will stop there with that article. But if you join the Discord, I do share links at the end of streams so that you can have them, look things over if you would like to. I need to share links from previous streams this week still. So I'm not always the most consistent about it, but also I do get around to it eventually, most of the time. All right. Okay, as a transing, because same, I have been watching, because we're getting into Culture Corner, which is what we do on Fridays, talking about culture that I'm excited about, that chatters have shared, especially if people are part of the Discord. This makes things more likely to be chosen for Culture Corner. But I have been watching the show P-Valley. It is about a strip club in Chickalusa, Mississippi. And it is very good. I've greatly enjoyed it. It is one of the few examples of actually letting sex workers be the main characters, and they are offered humanity. They are not just like being portrayed as one particular thing. There also shows like that there can be some cattiness involved, but like there is a lot of solidarity, which is something that we were seeing in that first video that we went over, that podcast episode, which is really cool to see that people tend to think of like, oh, it's just like people fighting all the time, and that's portrayed a lot in media, but like there can be a lot of community building that happens in those spaces. All right. Speaking of transitioning, being trans, this is a video and a song that I saw come out in June that I've not had the chance to react to. It's also a music video, and it features the trans chorus of Los Angeles. So I'm excited to see this. This is by Alana Balajot. Shall we check this out together? I will refresh this, just so it doesn't stop things part of the way through. It's called You Can't Erase Us.
You You can't erase us. We see what you're trying to do. Our friends embrace us. We've resisted longer than you. We won't be silent. Witnessing you breaking the law won't take your violence. We see all the harm that you cause. Time you've gone too far. Corruption at the highest bar. Sycophants and loyalists are lying for the czar. The government's betraying us, obeying, decaying. They're trying to play us and degrade us, but can't silence who we are.
You won't divide us, scheming with your billionaire friends. You will not hide us. We know that this isn't the end. We will remember all the crimes we see you commit. We won't surrender. Show them all that you're unfit. This time you've gone too far. Corruption at the highest bar. Sycophants and loyalists are lying for the czar. The government's betraying us, obeying decay. They're trying to play us and degrade us, but can't silence who we are.
We have resilience. We won't stop, we've come too far. Our family's brilliant. We're gonna protect all of ours. We're not the scapegoat. You blame us to hide your greed. We're gonna make it, and you're gonna watch us succeed. This time you've gone too far. Corruption at the highest bar. Sycophants and loyalists all lying for the czar. The government's betraying us, obeying, decaying. They're trying to play us and degrade us, but can't silence who we are. You're on the wrong side of history. To know we'll end in victory. To know you'll be exposed. Look, the emperor has no more. You can't erase us. We see what you're trying to do. Our friends embrace us. We've resisted longer than
Some
you. We
incredible
won't be
dancing in this.
silent. Witnessing you
Great
breaking the
vocals.
law won't take your violence. We see all the harm that you cause. This time you've gone too far. Corruption at the highest bar. Sycophants and loyalists are lying for the czar. The government's betraying us, obeying, decaying. They're trying to play us and degrade us, but can't silence who we are. You can't erase us.
Queer applause. Yeah, we still exist. No more AIDS. We think our queer... Oh. I wanted to read that. Oh, damn it. I keep missing it. We thank our queer ancestors and transcestors who paved the way for us. Yep. I love seeing that. There's a cure. It's not an accident as well that the current administration in the US that they have defunded. That's cool to see all of these messages about the AIDS epidemic, AIDS crisis. Like, there is still so much education that needs to be done, but like I was saying, it's not an accident that the current administration has defunded so many programs that are focusing on AIDS and education, AIDS prevention. So that's something we did a little bit ago. I have a friend who works for AIDS United. They have some really great programs. They're like educational, like courses that people can take. I recommend. I'm gonna share that in the chat. Especially when it comes to like having proper inclusive education for healthcare workers, in providing care that is so needed for trans people, people of color, queer people, just all of these intersections. And so, like, we went through one of these courses like on stream, and I think I may do that again because the courses are excellent and my friend helped make them. I'm very proud of them. Okay. So, as we were talking about sex work, and how there are so many situations that can be non-consensual, and one of the best ways to actually have safe working conditions is when sex work is not criminalized, when human beings are not criminalized, when there is collective bargaining power available, that this is a way to provide protection for workers. The same goes for all aspects of labor. And like how you were saying, Igloo, of like unionizing in general, this is a very helpful thing, but it is a necessity when we are addressing these power imbalances with the systems that we are existing in, like capitalism, colonialism, cis hetero patriarchy, ableism, xenophobia. I saw this video come out by Ego Soul. I'm not familiar with his work, nor have I seen this video, but it looked interesting to me. This is called A Pimp Named America. I'm a Pimp Named America.
America. And don't forget to say a pimp name. Colonialism, my pimp can.
Okay, before it was rudely cut off because I didn't refresh this. Talking about colonialism from the jump. Love that.
America. And don't forget to say a pimp name. Colonialism, my pimp can. Got me straight while capitalism on my pinky ring. I mean, baby, don't you know it's making that I got weight on it? If you hope it's gonna crash, don't wait on it. Big bank always say, little bit, I got match 401k on it. Go reserves on my teeth, so what's a brick gonna do to me? I started cooling all these countries just to have on niggas stay on it. Look, white fur coat, navy blue slacks, bloodstained red bone, stepping on the next. I give a check to the pop-ho so they can do it next. All that talk about equality, I put that shit to rest. Ice cold chain, only right that this pimpin' gets arrest. Did to minorities, now guess who's next? I've been fucking folks over since the 1600s. Same shit in the 21st. Good Samaritans do my dirty work. See, it's dirty, but it works. Any works work, it works till the ass can't work. Drop dead, good work. What you say about my system, bitch? Watch it first. I'm in a darky brown Cadillac. Acting ass, still ass. Want money at? Want money at? Want motherfucking money ass. See, baby, you just a hold of my minimum slave. I mean, minimum wage. 15 by the hour, tax breaks never give you a break. I said I need my fucking money today. And no one won't go to the potholes, only a road. But it's for the biggest gang I mode. I'm talking beaches with big news. How you think I keys other country my hoes? Listen, I've been pimping since pimping was pimping. That's the names how I'm living. Make Buffalo's my bitch, so them niggas stop bitching. Andrew Jackson, Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump. But see, that's just my chillin'. Hatred and bigotry, look at my history. They follow my visions. All to say, that's just a game. Ain't no fun in you in it. And your life was set up.
I mean, this is fire. I know. Like, seriously. The jazz background with that speeding up drumming as well. Also how he has ice on his neck, that it's like, oh, this is like, the word ice used to be referred to more as like jewelry of diamonds, necklaces, but especially with the creation of ICE, the institution of this state-sanctioned violence, it makes it so that like it's so fitting for him visibly portraying himself as America, as a pimp, and that ICE is proudly being worn as a flex. Someone called me ignorant for not wanting to vote since both wings of the bird make the same international sex trafficking empire float. I mean, yeah, voting is a difficult thing to be addressing, because it's like whether you are, how much faith you have in the system is reflective of how likely people are to vote. And you know, like, time will tell if we are able to actually have change, substantial change through voting. But especially like coming more from an anarchist perspective, I'm sure, to be addressing the system as being corrupt, no matter, like what you were saying, no matter what side you're coming from. I think it's like, especially when you know why you are not voting for something, it's like I don't think it's necessarily fair to say that people who don't vote are being ignorant. It's like, I do think electoral politics can affect our material conditions and can do some damage control, which is helpful at times, but it's not a solution, at least in my mind. But, you know, I'm open to be persuaded otherwise, but
from beginning. And you hoes think capitalism gonna help you like this pimping? That's ridiculous. Now listen. I said a pimp remains a pimp by keeping bitches paying rent. Okay, a pimp remains a pimp by keeping busting like you tricking. That's a trick. You think capitalism gonna help you get like this? Let me break it down real quick, baby. A pimp don't stay a pimp by having hoes getting rich.
Painting the apple gold.
You just my bitch. I collect and collect, so you don't own shit. You know shit ain't free, so get off my dick. I thought slavery would show your ass that I ain't shit. How them niggas build me up? It was brick by brick. Land of the free, I'm lying straight through my list. I keep the immigrants covered so the blade gon' shift. And that's the thing about it. I won't let you think that out of money, money, money. I never let you breathe without it. I never let you sleep without it. Remember, you can get like me. I let you American and dream about it. Brainwash and manipulate it. I just start to sing about it. You just gotta be about it. Grind hard, get the bad. Never gonna be free without it. Your hard work, keep the roof on my caddy. Stop better than goddamn. Let it gleam around it. Steady talking about some files pipe down. You ain't really gonna leave about it. You ain't taking to the streets about it. I ain't scared no protest. I keep some peace about it. But start to fill my money up, and we gon' see about it. Fight back, fight back. I don't need no martial arts, martial law. Show you Desert Eagle screen the ladders. And this money printer still gon' burn. Interest rates can't sink without it. Shit, Black Rock can't sink without it. Shit, Big Horse can't sink without it. Start using it for genocide, bitch. I think about it. Matter of fact, I just thought about it. Matter of fact, they just started bombing. Yeah, your money fund the biggest problems. Ain't no one else on their biggest problems. Now y'all niggas wanna talk about it. Now y'all niggas wanna mouth about it. Get mad, stop my bad because you all about it. Shit. Sorry, not sorry, but game is just game. Whatever your loss is my gain, and you sure lost a lot. That's why these pockets never drain. So when you tell your grandkids why they papa ain't paid, how they ancestors was enslaved, how they gonna work to afford none, cause living costs never match living wage. Remember, let them know who created the game. A pimp named America, and don't forget to say a pimp name. You picking up one, putting down, baby.
yeah, I think like a pimp is a good representation of this, of someone who is not doing the work themselves, generating wealth, and how there can be such like deeply exploitative practices where sex workers are not allowed to keep the wealth that they are generating, are subject to the whims of a pimp. Personifying this country as a pimp is such a phenomenal way to talk about America's issues. Painting the rotten apple with gold is, yep. I like how a pimp named America has a chain that says ice. Yep, exactly. It's all so thoughtfully done. Bro made a YouTube channel and immediately started dropping bombs. Incredible. People get the smallest amount of power in the workplace, then use the proletariat like slaves, and we're supposed to let one man usually have all that power. That's some bullshit. I refuse to do my civilian duty of voting for a lord to rule over me. I accept the politician's job rather of food, shelter, infrastructure, healthcare, psychological care, and general engineering, since they are doing jack shit about it. I mean, I think that's a fair perspective. It's like you understand why you weren't doing it. Which I wouldn't say that's coming from an ignorant place. I think especially people who buy into the system of thinking that like there is only one way of having liberation. It's like I think we can help better our conditions a bit with having less evil people in power, but that is, you know, really hard to come by. It takes a lot of organizing, and so then we get into the argument of like, so are we expending our energy with organizing around politicians to help like the hemorrhaging that is happening with all of the bullshit that we are experiencing? Or do we divert this energy towards community building in other ways? So, you know, it depends on like how much people are buying into the system. Hello, Dina. Welcome. Welcome. It's Culture Corner. Yay. Yeah, it's like, I mean, personally, like I'll admit, like I do vote to hopefully help with the material conditions we are experiencing to limit some harm, but I do also have the perspective that like harm reduction itself is not a way for liberation. I think it's still an aspect that we can be engaging in, but also organizing more around like mutual aid efforts, various like community organizing efforts, often I feel like has a more direct impact. So yeah, addressing all of these things. Okay. There's this video that was also recommended to me, Katya Pojideva. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sorry if that's the case. But this song is called Capitalism. I'm like, okay, it's not an accident this was served to me. Also, I've been seeing this Iman Europe video be recommended to me. If we have time for that today, I do want to watch it. I'm not familiar with this artist or this song, so we'll see what this is about. How was the rest of your stream, Dina?
This is Jane. She's working good. Earning money for her goods. This is Louis. He's kind. He can handle all her funds. Louis married Jane one day. They had kids, more bills to pay. All the life around the money.
You beat another bean level. Yes.
To lose your comfy.
Clear applause for you.
This is Roger. He's great.
Amazing. There's such a good group there, especially with like good taste, like the song recommendations as well. I love that. It's such a fun space.
Salary. What is wrong? You lost me still. Nothing, Roger, sleep and kill. All the dreams they had before. Got the jobs to help you get rich more. Get rich more, get rich more, get rich more, get rich more. Wake up every morning for a march of tiny wheels. Time to look up to the sun and what
I know it is eerie. It's not an accident that there is more music coming out like this. The people have just had it. And we do need more art like this, so I love it. Yeah, I like how the music is like creating that eerie feeling because it's like, oh, that's how it feels, you know?
It's good to have your
Yeah, of course. Thank you for streaming, providing such a wonderful space.
We love his company. He pays. We'll sell ourselves, we'll sell our lifetime to make his company feels bright, to make him buy a new sport car, or maybe yacht for his young wife. He wants our families to help. He wants us to be part of jail. No matter what the years will be gone, and he'll kick us out once we become old and tired. Wake up every morning for a march of tiny wheels. Don't look up to the sun and wonder if those we sing. Just follow people right in front of you. They're gonna show you how to pray for Roger's view.
Sort of reminds me of my mom. Why do you want to leave for the forest? Yeah, I mean, I think those are fair questions, especially as a mom, like wanting to make sure that you're taken care of. But I can also understand just a repudiation of the systems we're existing in too.
You won't regret. All your colleagues will smile right to your face while they're watching all your steps to be the one instead of you in Roger's tunnels to you.
I really like these earrings. I have to say, the captions are kind of dropping the ball. But what else can we expect from AI technology? They're auto-generated. I do like the dancing too. There's some cool styling as well. I do like that ending too. Yeah, the makeup, her makeup was really great. Where it's showing everyone like doing the same thing in their like individual spaces where we're all stuck in these systems, but how like at the end of the light just focusing on her, of people feeling so alone. And that is the intention, to get us so that we are not in community, that people feel like the only reason to exist is to just be running on the hamster wheel that we all are. I'm so privileged. I get to choose to be homeless or not. I mean, it's good that you can acknowledge that. If that is a privilege to feel like you can choose that there is a place to go to, you know? But yeah, I think it also can make sense, especially for people who are not, like, for people who are in some older generations as well, where it's much harder to break down some of the conditioning. It's like, I'm sure, like what I was saying before, like your your mom is wanting you to just like be safe and okay, like have your needs be met, but also like when the world is falling apart and it seems like we just have so little of control over what is going on, I can see why you would have those inclinations as well. Lovely vest today. Thank you. I sewed on these buttons, but there's a lot of like empty spaces because I'll wear it around, and a lot of buttons fall everywhere, especially if I like wear it and go dancing. I leave a trail of buttons. Hoop goes hard. Thank you. These are little tabs, like soda tabs. Trail of buttons. That would be a good poem. Okay. This is in that same vein. It reminds me of this song. I've actually seen this before. I think I've seen this like halfway through and then I stopped because I wanted to watch the rest on stream. This was recommended by someone on YouTube. This is Die Shiny. They're from Utah. They're from Salt Lake City, so that's cool. And this song is called Gold Star, Good Citizen. I think it uses a lot of the same elements that we saw in that previous video. See? As we see individual people who are closed off from one another, not seeing the environment, feeling like we're all just entertained into a stupor. But, yeah, it's not an accident that more content, more art is being made like this. Everyone is feeling this existential dread with the crises that are going on, living in capitalist colonialism, in imperialism, with the US, especially if you're in the US, like causing all of this harm. And it's like, okay, but like we feel like we have such little control. What can we be doing? So this is Gold Star, Good Citizen. Should have known. There we go. It's reloading. All of these headlines talking about the genocide,
Lock all the doors and feed the meter.
American aggression, US aggression.
As you walk by all the people under the bridge, 'cause you're not laid down, but you don't have cash on you right now. You've got a meeting and a deadline.
Looking like an aristocrat in the French Revolution.
'Cause you heard some gunfire in the night, somebody else's problem, but you still called and let the police take care of the peace. You did your part, Gold Star, Good Citizen. There is a meeting in the room up on the hill, and you can't go in, Gold Star, Good Citizen.
This outfit and also the makeup is cool.
No attention, they're just forcing birth and bombing babies, forcefully enforcing faith. The slave patrols are in the street, and you're still paying
Slave patrols in the streets. Yep, those are the pigs.
every day to let your fear of disobeying turn your labor into ashes. How many bodies have you tossed in the fire? While sedated by the empire, so you have to learn how to
How
fight.
everyone is wearing the same thing. This forced conformity, wearing dog tags.
House is white. I know it's inconvenient. I know this isn't clean. It cannot be about you, and that goes against car on a journey to be something parallel park. Lock all the doors and feed the meter. Push your keys through your fingers as you walk by all the people under the bridge, 'cause you're just like them and you can't unpack that shit right now. You've gotta block out all the headlines. Too little sleep 'cause you saw the faces of the dead when you really meant to look away. Let the lords at war take care of the peace. Don't cause a single star good citizen. There is a
Yeah, our complicity is viewed as being respectable.
tell gold star good citizen. Pay no attention, they're just forcing birds and bombing babies, forcefully enforcing faith. The slave patrols are in the street, and you're still paying taxes to fascists, working your ass off every day to let your fear of disobeying turn your labor into ashes. How many bodies will we toss in the fire? Sedated by the empire, sorry. We have to learn how to fight, 'cause we're the providers of the house, and the house is white.
Damn. We're all called out in this. I mean, yeah. Where it's like we all have a duty to be resisting what is going on. Otherwise, like we share in this guilt, especially with, our taxes, and then also acknowledging how we as everyday people are so disempowered, and that there is not a cost to resistance, that there is always risk involved too. Okay, let's turn to some more lighthearted fare, shall we? I mean, as we're just watching that, where she's like, don't just be entertained. We can all be making a plan to be getting involved, doing stuff to move the needle, get involved in community organizing. There's this that I compiled along with Bounce House, Bouncy, that there are a number of resources to help with organizing, whether it's unionizing, doing some trainings. Oh, hello. Speaking of, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? I'll play this. So, as a change of pace, I've been called out of Lurk. I mean, if you want to go back into Lurk, you feel free to. Bouncy! Lovely human. Yeah, do it. Do what you need to do, not to disrupt what you're doing. You had a bit of a nap? Oh, glad you're able to get a little bit of rest. Hopefully it was, in fact, restful, Okay, with a bit of a change of pace, because we do also need to maintain some revolutionary optimism. And a way that I do this is by engaging with you lovely folks. making plans for organizing, but also partaking of art that is just beautiful and astounding. This is Victoria Monet, and we can always count on her to provide us with wonderful, astounding, just highest tier art, and not in like a classist way, but in terms of like artistic excellence, of talent and intelligence, vision, all of these things. Victoria Monet is wildly talented. She won the Grammy for Best New Artist a couple of years ago, but for those of us who knew about her beforehand, it's like that was long overdue. She has been a songwriter for a very long time with her own music, as well as for pop artists, like the Thank You Next song. She did a lot of writing for Ariana Grande. It's not an accident that like Ariana during her Black woman phase was sounding almost exactly like Victoria Monet, her main songwriter. So just calling that out. Because Victoria Monet is just incredibly talented and often like is not given the credit she is due, even after winning this Grammy, you know? And also, like, can we look to these institutions for accolades of fairness when they have their own agendas? Now working on music purchase because it's Bandcamp Friday. Ooh! Anything exciting? Anything you're looking forward to? All right, this is the newest Victoria Monet song. It's called Reach Out. Wait, when did it come out? 2 weeks ago. This I have reserved for Culture Corner. I'm not subscribed. I am on my personal, not on the stream one, but okay, now I'm subscribed. I have been waiting to watch this so that we could watch it together on Culture Corner. I don't know if everyone knows about Bandcamp Friday. Bandcamp waives their fees for normally first Friday of the month, but some months are skipped. Oh, really? All purchase money goes to the artist? I didn't know that. Wow. That's amazing. Incredible. Yeah, and with Bandcamp, it goes directly to them. Yay! I love that. Thank you for the information. As we're talking about artists actually seizing the means of production, of being able to make money from the art that they're creating. Yeah, you should let us know if there are any that you're particularly excited about. Ooh, amazing. This is what Bouncy shared. Ends in 6 hours. This animation's very cute. AI could never. It's cute, and that's how you know it's not AI. Thank you for sharing. Speaking of artistry that AI could never, shall we watch Victoria Monet? Okay. Already, this is so fucking good. Look at the styling. She's also such an incredible dancer. She just knows how to move, is like so self-aware, and like you can have technical skill as a dancer, but you also like there is a difference between like having musicality. And since she is a dancer and a musician, she makes a lot of music that people want to dance to because she is a dancer. I'm picking up a Habibi funk record. Ooh, some other stuff I found from my fave radio station, Radio Alhara. I love that. I love that. A band I've been listening to more over like the past year or so. They're called Glass Beams. They do some Habibi what word am I looking for? Like cruising type of music. Yeah, they have some really great music. Maybe we'll play some of their stuff. Sean Bankhead, icon. He has choreographed some of like the best dancing we've seen in music videos. Like he has single-handedly, in my mind, brought back music videos of like choreographing for Normani and Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Stunning. Wow. I mean, she has been throughout her whole career. But it is cool to see that, like, as she has been able to have, like, bigger budgets for her music videos and, like, her music in general, of how it just amplifies everything. This, we're gonna take a blast to the past. This is Victoria Monet. This song came out 9 years ago. I think the first song I heard by Victoria Monet was Moment on Jaguar 1, that album. And this is from, wait, what album is this from? I'll look it up. I think this was the part 2, because she has Jaguar part 1 and 2, and then she has 2 other albums that there's a part 1 and 2. Life After Love? I'll look that up. This is from 9 years ago. Wow, that makes me feel old. But this song is excellent, and often not really as talked about as much in her body of work.
Ladies, if you're single, and you out here trying to catch one, baby girl, our time is coming. It's gonna be someone that compliments the vision. So just keep your mind right.
I love how it's like an ice cream truck. The song at the beginning that's going on in the background, then there's like an R&B beat over it, with those 808s, and it provides, because the time signatures are off, it like provides a lot of like interest to the ear, where it's like, what am I hearing?
Keep that body tight, be everything you'd want to see in him. It's only right, better do it while you're single. He's someone looking for you single. We gotta stay ready. Gotta stay ready. Something like a baseball game. I'ma get you in position. Focused on the ball, you know I don't.
Okay, I was right. It was Life After Love Part 1 and Life After Love Part 2. This is on Part 2.
We can do it solo, but it's nice to have a witness. Double the pleasure and triple them funds when you both about the business. Yeah, so just keep your mind right and keep that body tight. Be everything you'd want to see in him. It's only right, better do it while you're single. He's somewhere looking for you single. We gotta stay ready. Gotta stay ready.
Like, that look there, do you remember when Ariana Grande was dressing like that? Like the red look? Like dressing like this for a while with like the thigh-high boots and like the big jackets and stuff. This is when she was working with Victoria Monet a lot.
Something like a baseball game, I'm a catcher in position. Focused on the ball, you know I don't wanna miss it. I'm ready. Ladies, we gotta stay ready.
This is very Mariah inspired. Like full body shots with the long dress in the wind. A dress with a slit on the side to get your legs out. That's very Mariah coded.
Something like a baseball game, I'm a catcher in position. Focused on the ball, you know I don't wanna miss it.
That is a classic for me. Let's watch a little of... Okay. Ooh, I haven't seen this before. Looking up at Glass Beams. One Raga to a Disco Beat. A cover of Raga Bhairav by Charanjit Singh. Actually playing some ragas? That's very Daisy. Hello, Linton. How are you doing? Welcome. I haven't seen this before. Whoops. Which they're also using the synth to kind of sound like a sitar. Had some adult drinks with my friend. Nice. Marks is way down. I hope you had a good time. Not too much of a hangover. Or if you're still in it, enjoying it. Oh, they're Indian Australian. Okay, this is making a lot more sense. Didn't go too hard. That's good. Also, the styling that they have is so good. And like the colors that they choose for their sets. The behind the scenes, yes. Hey, we'll watch that after this. Green ciggies, shots. Amazing. Sounds like a good time. I love the manipulation of the synth to sound like a sitar. The backdrop of chains is cool. Just looking at this, it smells like sandalwood to me. One of my favorite smells in the world. I love this contemporary take on the raga too. Apparently on Billboard they were categorized as contemporary jazz. Yes, in a way. We can't really trust these Western institutions to categorize though. Rajan Silva, yeah, is the main band member, the one with the blonde hair or like the bleached tips. Moog sound. That's the Habibi Moog. Sounds so good in this one. That's the word I was looking for. And the Indian influence. Jai Hind. All right. Yes.
ياخذها الدورية وبلادي فلسطينية والأرض المقدسية عادي نفديها بالأرواح.
Did you see Killer Mike's coming for FD? No, but I've been wanting to watch that Lil Bill video.
I feel like a click just sounds
Like, Killer Mike needs to be called out in that way. Have you seen that video?
Jump in like SD Kid. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I love seeing the behind the scenes of music being made. Choreographing too.
Could we have both? Like have verse be the like radio one and then the hook is like the more corporate.
Seen bits of Lil Bill's one and a couple of other people's. Yeah, I heard about that. And it's like, okay, calm down.
This is so fun. I'm having so much fun right now.
Bring some money with
They're doing the off that's in Zajal. Ooh.
actually crazy. What we did at the end of that was like perfectly it. I have no idea what I did.
This song's so good.
Watch your step, how you dress, what a mess. But pretending my image on the press. Watch your step, how you dress, what a mess. But pretending my image on the press.
That drop is so good.
Sounds crazy.
Incredible. She really is so talented. I mean, all of them are. But thank you for introducing me to Sereen. Just a wonderful recommendation, per usual. I love that Caroline emote. He bragged about moving capital, bitch. Okay. Like, okay, that's the flex. That's supposed to impress us. Like, if you're bragging about that, you didn't understand why FD was critiquing you to begin with, you know? Like, which I'll admit, like, I have enjoyed, like, some of Killer Mike's music and, like, Run the Jewels. But also, like, the criticisms of him are very, like, especially the ones in good faith, of him being a capitalist and focusing primarily on, like, upholding these systems, that it's like that's part of the issue. And so then you can't say that, like, you're fighting against these things when you are, like, perpetuating them too. All right. Killer Mike loved to cosplay revolutionary. Yeah, it's true. Got him that capital he loves so much. Yep, that is true as well. Where, like, I think especially in wanting to, I think cosplaying as revolutionary is a really great way of putting it, of wanting to present as being more progressive and for the people without doing the work for the people. It's like that just goes to show how so much of the time when people get to a certain status that they just are the problem. Like, even if people get into it wanting to give back or, like, dismantle things, these oppressive systems, but, like, especially the music industry being rife with so many issues, it's just another industry that a lot of the time it's like I tend to view, like, Killer Mike as maybe a little less chest thumping of a capitalist as, like, Jay-Z. Killer Mike, the one battle after another. That's also a good description of him. Where they're like, okay, we're gonna mention some things that are more revolutionary but not understand what it means, or have this actually move the needle in ways to accomplish said revolutionary ends. That's a great way of saying that. I love that. All right. Shall we get into Macbeth? We are now on Act 3. So we left off with Malcolm. Wait, no, I lied. We left off with Macbeth, who was talking to Ross and a character called Old Man. And the Old Man, I don't think, comes back in this play. So sad that he doesn't get a name. But it's probably ageist. I mean, that is. They were talking about how they're scandalized by the killing of the king, that Donald Bain and Malcolm left, and how it looked very bad, that they're like, oh, that doesn't look good for you. And especially with them leaving, that it is to escape, and that with them being gone and out of the way, that Macbeth is able to ascend to the throne. This is one of the plot holes in Shakespeare where it's like, okay, so it was implied that Donald Bain and Malcolm were next in line for the throne, but then if people just leave, is it like, oh, you aren't up for the crown anymore? And so then Macbeth went to get like his coronation done. So it's like, is that a thing? It's like there's a similar issue that happens in Hamlet where Hamlet's father is killed, and then all of a sudden his uncle Claudius is on the throne, and it's not him. And it's like, okay, well, if we're talking about succession, which like all of that is like bullshit anyway, but how is it that Claudius got into power? That's never explained. So just conveniently left out. Perhaps I'm looking at it too simplistic, but there are these like plot holes that aren't explained. I'm sure there will be some scholar that's like, no, it makes sense because of this, but I would like that to be a little bit clearer. That would be nice. Okay. So for this scene, we have Banquo that enters alone. Enter Banquo. Thou hast it now, King Cawdor Glamis, all as the weird women promised, and I fear thou platest most foully for it. Yet it was said it should not stand in thy posterity, but that myself should be the root and father of many kings. Footnote, it should not pass to your descendants. So yeah, it should not stand in thy posterity, because he's saying the weird women, referencing the witches. So he is saying that the prophecy of the witches came true, and he did become king, that he had become the Thane of, he already was a Thane of Glamis, but then became the Thane of Cawdor, and how he is suspicious of Macbeth, where he was like, I think after you heard all of that you ended up killing the king. So he's one of the few characters to actually be seeing clearly what's going on. And also, we can't forget that they said, like what he just referenced, the witches said that Banquo's sons will be kings and not Macbeth's. So, still a mystery. There come truth from them, as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine, saying, smile favorably. Why, by the verities on thee made good, may they not be my oracles as well, and set me up in hope? But hush, no more. So he's done speaking to himself and the audience. Senate sounded, meaning a trumpet call. Enter Macbeth as king, Lady Macbeth as queen, Lennox, Ross, lords, and attendants. Macbeth. Here's our chief guest. Lady Macbeth. If he had been forgotten, it had been as a gap in our great feast, and all thing unbecoming. Saying, and formal unbecoming. Wait, nope. Entirely unbecoming. I was reading a different footnote. Macbeth to Banquo. Tonight we hold a solemn supper, sir, and all request your presence. Banquo. Let your highness command upon me, to which my duties are with a most indissoluble tie, for ever knit. Macbeth. Ride you this afternoon? Banquo. Aye, my good lord. Macbeth. We should have else desired your good advice, which still hath been both grave and prosperous, in this day's council, but we'll talk tomorrow. Is it far you ride? So saying both grave as in weighty, serious, but also it's a double entendre here, where it is foreshadowing death and also addressing the fact that Macbeth got into power because he killed the king. Banquo. As far, my lord, as will fill up the time twixt this and supper. Go not my horse, the better. I must become a borrower of the night for a dark hour or twain. Footnote. If my horse does not go faster than I expect. Macbeth. Fail not our feast. My lord, I will not. We here our bloody cousins are bestowed, meaning lodged, in England and Ireland, not confessing their cruel parricide, filling their hearers with strange invention. But of that tomorrow, when therewithal we shall have cause of state, craving us jointly. Footnote. State business demanding our joint attention. I guess that was kind of clear. We didn't really need a footnote for that. Hie you to horse. Adieu. Till you return at night. Goes Fleance with you? Which Fleance is a servant. Banquo. Aye, my good lord, our time does call upon's. I wish your horses swift and sure of foot, and so I do commend you to their backs. Farewell. Exit Banquo. Let every man be master of his time till 7 at night. To make society the sweeter welcome, we will keep ourself till supper time alone. While then, God be with you. Exeunt. All but Macbeth and a servant. Sirrah, a word with you. Attend those men, our pleasure. So that was also a way, Sirrah is a way to address a servant. Servant. They are, my lord, without the palace gate. Macbeth. Bring them before us. Exit servant. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Meaning, to be a king is no good unless one can reign in safety. So also referring to the paranoia of him understanding that it is a very fleeting thing, a very fragile thing that life is, but also being king, because he understands how easy it is to kill the king and therefore have his power and life be taken from him. Our fears in Banquo stick deep and in his royalty of nature, saying like he has a nobility of nature, which in this classist way is saying like he has a noble character. But, you know, we can separate nobility as in title and also nobility as in like good intentions and having morals. But in this case, he seems to have both. Very difficult to find among the ruling class, if ever. And he is already saying that he doesn't trust Banquo because he seems to have morals, that he was there hearing the prophecy of the witches. Reigns that would be feared. 'Tis much he dares, and to that dauntless temper of his mind, he hath a wisdom that doth guide his valor to act in safety. There is none but he, whose being I do fear, and under him my genius is rebuked, as it is said, Mark Antony's was by Caesar. His genius meaning his tutelary spirit. We have another footnote. Said by Plutarch. Shakespeare paraphrases him in Antony and Cleopatra. That is another Shakespeare play. He chid the sisters when first they put the name of king upon me, and bade them speak to me. Then, prophet-like, they hailed him father to a line of kings, so that's also making him suspicious. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown, and put a barren scepter in my grip, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. Unlineal saying like the line of succession. If it be so, for Banquo's issue have I filed my mind, meaning defiled his mind. For them the gracious Duncan have I murdered, put rancors in the vessel of my peace, only for them, and mine eternal jewel given to the common enemy of man to make them kings, the seeds of Banquo kings. Rather than so, come fate into the list, and champion me to the utterance. Who's there? Okay, footnote, and fight with me in single combat to the death. Enter servant and 2 murderers. So they also don't get names. They're just called murderers. This is very classist. Who actually gets names? Who doesn't? Now go to the door, and stay there till we call. Exit servant. Was it not yesterday we spoke together? Murderers. It was, so please your highness. Macbeth. Well then, now have you considered of my speeches? Know that it was he in the times past which held you so under fortune, which you thought had been our innocent self. This I made good to you in our last conference, passed in probation with you, how you were borne in hand, how crossed, the instruments, who wrought with them, and all things else that might to half a soul and to a notion crazed. The instruments line meaning agents, because he was asking them to commit murder. To half a soul and to a notion crazed, a footnote says, even to a half-wit or to a crazed mind. That's very ableist. Say, thus did Banquo. First murderer. You made it known to us. Macbeth. I did so and went further, which is now our point of second meeting. Do you find your patience so predominant in your nature that you can let this go? Are you so gospelled to pray for this good man and for his issue, whose heavy hand hath bowed you to the grave and beggared yours forever? Gospelled meaning imbued with the gospel spirit. I guess that's also kind of implied. It's obvious. So they are hesitant in committing this murder. First murderer. We are men, my liege. Macbeth. Aye, in the catalogue ye go for men. As hounds and greyhounds, mongrels, Spaniards, curs, shows, water rugs, and demi-wolves are clept. Shaggy lapdogs, demi-wolves, are shaggy lapdogs, water dogs for fowling, and crossbreeds between a wolf and a dog. So he's talking about them in very dehumanizing terms. And saying essentially, like, that's all you're good for, you are my servants. All by the name of dogs. The valued file distinguishes the swift, the slow, the subtle, the housekeeper, the hunter, everyone according to the gift which bounteous nature hath in him closed. Okay, when he says the valued file, this means lists specifying the value of the catalogued items. So he's essentially saying, like, you aren't men, you're dogs. And even among dogs that you are not categorized as being that high. He's mad at them. Whereby he does receive particular addition from the bill that writes them all alike. Which means distinction apart from a catalogue that lists them indiscriminately. And so of men. Now if you have a station in the file, not in the worst rank of manhood, say it, and I will put that business in your bosoms, whose execution takes your enemy off, grapples you to the heart and love of us, who wear our health but sickly in his life, which in his death were perfect. Second murderer. I am one, my liege, whom the vile blows and buffets of the world hath so incensed that I'm reckless what I do to spite the world. First murderer. And I another, so weary with disasters, tugged with fortune, that I would set my life on any chance to mend or be rid on it. So essentially they're like, we are being oppressed, and we will do anything that we need to better our situations, to not be oppressed. So they're talking about class here, but I don't know if that was something the nobility at the time would even be recognizing. Of Shakespeare's time, I mean. Macbeth. Both of you. No Banquo was your enemy. Murderers. True, my lord. So it seems like they had orders to murder Banquo, and that they have been resistant to it because they have loyalty to Banquo. They like him. Macbeth. So is he mine, and in such bloody distance that every minute of his being thrusts against my nearest of life. Say most vital part, the heart. So any every minute of his being alive is a threat to his own beating heart, to his own heart and rule. And though I could with barefaced power sweep him from my sight, and bid my will avouch it, yet I must not. For certain friends that are both his and mine, whose loves I may not drop, but wail his fall, who I myself struck down, and thence it is that I to your assistance do make love. Oh. It sounds gay. Okay. What it does have a queer reading, for sure. In the footnote, it's saying, I crave your aid, but also queer. Masking the business from the common eye for sundry weighty reasons. He's like, you need to take the blame, not me. I can't possibly be doing this because of all of these reasons, these bullshit reasons that he's giving. Second murderer. We shall, my lord, perform what you command us. First murderer. Though our lives, Macbeth, your spirits shine through you. So the first murderer is like, I don't like that they're even being called murderers. How about, like, coerced mercenaries? I don't know. The first murderer is like, but what about our lives? And Macbeth interrupts him. He's like, you don't matter. So that also may be, like, a little jab by Shakespeare, but it's not nearly as overt enough of being, like, class conscious and challenging the existing system as what I would like. Macbeth, your spirits shine through you. Within this hour at most, I will advise you where to plant yourselves. Acquaint you with the perfect spy of the time. The moment on it. Footnote, I will give you full and precise instructions as to when it is to be done. Okay, I feel like that was kind of obvious too. Maybe I should, like, be reading the footnotes before I read them out loud. For must be done tonight, and something from the palace. Always thought that I require a clearness, and with him I leave no rubs nor botches in the work. A rub meaning flaw. Fleance, his son, that keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me. Oh, Fleance is his son? I thought he was a servant. Is that a list? No. Okay, maybe it is his son. Oh, but they were speaking down to Fleance, so that's why I was thinking that he was a servant. But they were speaking down to him because of age. Whoops. Fleance, his son that keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than his father's, must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourselves apart. I'll come to you anon. So he's saying make up your minds separately. And so he is saying in that last part, you need to kill Fleance, the son of Banquo, in addition to Banquo, because he doesn't want his sons to be kings. So it's him trying to make it so that there isn't this hierarchy. Like what you're saying, wrong hierarchy. Yep, exactly. Whoops. Quite literally the patriarchal one, rather than the kingly patriarchal one. Yeah, so he's trying to say, I don't want this, I'm trying to eradicate his line of succession. Murderers, we are resolved, my lord. Macbeth, I'll call upon you straight. Are you so sure? Sounds like you wanted to make love to them earlier. Okay, he's saying I'll do that, I'll do that directly. Abide within. Exeunt, murderers. It is concluded. Banquo, thy soul's flight, if it find heaven, must find it out tonight. So he's even questioning whether Banquo will go to heaven, even though he's like, nobody wants to kill him, and I don't want to kill him because he seems to be a nice guy. It's like, it seems like he might go to heaven. That also is going to further damn your soul if you believe in such things. But it doesn't seem like he cares. He is being extra paranoid. He is exhibiting a lot of the traits that King James, the ruler at the time that Shakespeare is appealing to, showed in being so incredibly paranoid. So, you know, I don't know if James would have even been viewing it as that, but there you go. Also, maybe a slight dig that the king probably was not even picking up on. All right. Thank you all for being here. It was lovely being with you. I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, wherever you are. And I will see you soon. See you on Monday when I stream again. Oh, thank you, Dina. Thank you for always streaming. All right, take care. Okay, bye.